15 psychological insights that will leave you amazed. Psychology is the science that digs into how the mind works and why people behave the way they do. For decades, researchers have been exploring what shapes us, and their journey is far from over. Every year brings new discoveries, yet there's still so much left to uncover. Some of these findings are truly eye-opening. For example, did you know that ending a text with a period can actually make you sound less genuine? So buckle up because you're about to dive into some fascinating psychological truths. These insights might just shine a light on behaviors you've noticed in yourself or in the people around you. Number 1. Having a plan B can weaken plan A. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania discovered something interesting. When people were asked to perform a task, those who spent time thinking about a backup plan actually performed worse than those who didn't. Why? Because once people realized they had a safety net, their drive to succeed dropped. This ties back to expectancy theory, introduced by Victor H. Vroom in 1964, which suggests that our motivation depends on how strongly we believe we can achieve a goal. The very idea of a plan B implies that plan A might fail, and that thought alone can reduce your determination. Experts recommend thinking ahead, but caution against putting too much focus on backup plans. Otherwise, you might unintentionally be setting yourself up for failure. Number 2. Why yawns are so contagious. It's early in the day, and you're ready to dive into work. Then, in the middle of the morning meeting, the person next to you suddenly lets out a long, loud yawn. Without even thinking, you yawn too, even though you're not the least bit tired. That's called a response yawn. Scientists have proposed several explanations for why yawns spread so easily, but one of the most widely accepted theories is that it's linked to empathy. In other words, when you catch someone else's yawn, it may be your brain's way of showing connection and understanding. Interestingly, young children who haven't fully developed empathy, and many individuals on the autism spectrum, are less likely to experience contagious yawning. Number 3. Why we respond more to one person than to a huge crisis. Another study from the University of Pennsylvania uncovered a fascinating truth about human behavior and generosity. Researchers divided participants into groups. One was shown the image of a single starving girl. Another was told a statistic about millions of people suffering from hunger. And a third group was given both pieces of information. The results? People who only heard the statistic gave the least. Those who heard both donated slightly more. But the group that learned only about the little girl gave twice as much as the statistic group. Why does this happen? Psychologists explain that when a problem feels overwhelming, like world hunger, we feel powerless, as if our small contribution won't make a difference. But when the focus is on one child, the goal feels real and reachable. Saving one life feels possible, while ending global hunger feels impossible. Number 4. Why we remember beginnings and endings better than the middle. Ever gone to the store and realized you left your grocery list at home? You try to piece it together from memory, and what usually comes back to you are the first few items and the last ones, while everything in the middle feels a little blurry. Researchers writing in Frontiers of Human Neuroscience confirmed this phenomenon. It's known as the serial position effect. This explains why you might clearly recall the opening of your manager's presentation and the closing remarks, but struggle to remember the bulk of what was said in between. So, if you sometimes forget the middle stuff, it doesn't automatically mean you're scatterbrained or have attention issues. It's just how the human brain works. Number 5. Why one negative moment needs 5 positives to balance out. Have you ever noticed how one rude comment can stick in your head all day, even if you've heard plenty of kind words too? That's because our brains are wired with what psychologists call a negativity bias. We naturally give more weight to the bad than the good. That's why many experts recommend a simple practice. Start and end your day by focusing on things you're thankful for. Gratitude helps shift your perspective back toward balance. The magic number, according to research, is 5 positives to cancel out one negative. Whether it's a smile from a stranger, a good meal, or a small personal win, collecting those moments can tip the scales back in your favor. Keep stacking up the good, and over time, you'll notice life feels a lot lighter. Number 6. Why food always seems better when someone else cooks it. Have you ever sat down to eat and thought, wow, this tastes way better when someone else makes it? Whether it's your mom's homemade dish or your friend's cooking, somehow it just hits different. Scientists suggest the reason is pretty simple. When you're the one doing all the chopping, stirring, and waiting around, by the time the food is finally ready, your brain has already gotten used to it. That sense of anticipation dulls the excitement, making the meal feel less satisfying. So, maybe that's why Grandma's recipe never tastes quite the same when you make it yourself. Number 7. Why we'd rather hear bad news straight away than sit in uncertainty. You know that sinking feeling when someone looks at you and says, "We need to talk." Suddenly, your brain kicks into overdrive, running through every worst-case scenario imaginable. If it's your partner, part of you almost wishes they'd just rip off the Band-Aid and break up right then and there. If it's your boss, you'd rather they come right out and say you're fired instead of leaving you hanging. Psychologists have found that most people would prefer knowing a bad outcome for sure rather than being stuck in the unknown. Because when your brain doesn't know what's coming, it scrambles to predict every possible consequence, good or bad. And that endless guessing game creates even more stress than the bad news itself. Sometimes certainty, even when it hurts, feels easier than the anxiety of waiting. Number 8. Why strict rules make us want to break even more of them. Psychologists call this reactance. It's what happens when people feel like their freedom is being taken away. Instead of following the rules, they push back and end up breaking even more of them as a way to reclaim control. You see this all the time with teenagers. Tell them they're grounded, and they might not only sneak out of the house, but also take it a step further by doing something reckless, just to prove they still have power over their own choices. The harder the restrictions, the stronger the urge to rebel. Number 9. Why we want to squeeze cute things. Puppies, kittens, babies. You see them and suddenly you just want to hug, squeeze, and cuddle them to pieces. Strange, right? Well, scientists actually have a name for this: cute aggression. According to research published in Frontiers in Behavioral Neuroscience, when something is overwhelmingly adorable, our brains balance out those intense positive emotions with a touch of aggression. It's like a built-in safety valve, keeping us from being so overcome with joy that we might accidentally harm the very thing we're trying to protect. So, the urge to squish that fluffy puppy, totally natural. Number 10. We unintentionally believe what we want to believe. Ever notice how people only hear what supports their opinions? That's confirmation bias. It's our brain's tendency to interpret facts in ways that line up with what we already believe. That's why folks with strong political views usually stick to news outlets that echo their perspective. And trying to change their mind? Good luck. Not only do we naturally seek out information that supports our beliefs, but we also tend to dismiss anything that challenges them. In short, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we want it to be. Number 11. You're wired to love the music from your teen years. Ever notice how the songs you loved in high school still hit different no matter how old you get? That's because music releases dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. And during the ages of 12 to 22, everything feels more intense and meaningful. Music from that time stamps itself onto your memories. So no matter how much new music comes out, nothing will ever top those tracks that defined your teenage years. They'll always be your soundtrack. Number 12. Your memories aren't perfect snapshots, they're reconstructed stories. Did you know your brain doesn't store memories like a camera capturing a photo? Instead, it pieces them together like a puzzle. That's why false memories happen, like thinking you turned on the dishwasher before leaving the house, only to come home and realize you didn't. Your brain often fills in the blanks with what it thinks should have happened rather than what really did. In short, your memories are more like creative reconstructions than flawless recordings. Number 13. Why we see faces in random objects. Ever looked at the moon and thought you saw a man smiling back at you? That's called pareidolia, our brain's habit of spotting faces in clouds, trees, or even the front of a car. Scientists believe it happens because recognizing faces is vital for us as social beings. Our brains are so wired for connection that we'd rather imagine a face where there isn't one than risk missing a real one. Number 14. We become what others expect of us. The Pygmalion effect shows us something powerful. When people believe in us, we tend to live up to it. Back in the 1960s, researchers told teachers that certain students had unusually high potential, even though the students were chosen at random. By the end of the year, those very students performed better, partly because their teachers expected more from them. It's a reminder that high expectations can lift us higher, while low expectations can hold us back. Number 15. Why we procrastinate on long deadlines. We've all been there. You've got months to finish a big project, so you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. Then suddenly, tomorrow turns into weeks, and before you know it, you're rushing to finish everything at the last minute. Our brains actually treat short-term deadlines as more urgent. Tasks that can be crossed off quickly feel more rewarding, so we tackle those first. But when something feels far away, like weeks or months, it just doesn't trigger the same sense of urgency. That's why breaking long-term goals into smaller, short-term steps can help us stay motivated and avoid the last-minute scramble. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps us keep creating more inspiring content. For more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss a new lesson from Wisdom Academy. Thank you for being part of this community. We truly appreciate your support.